welcome to episode 281 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined for the last time this year by Matty Figuera.
For the last time ever.
Sure, let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
It does not make any sense. I'm trying to work out how many hours total I gamed this year, and my Google Sheets gave me a date.
It gave you a date?
I'm like, equals sum, add all of these rows together. It's like, yes, the 19th of January. How? How did you get there? That makes no sense.
You've done broke Excel.
Yeah.
I mean, Excel is a very confusing and powerful tool, so I blame the operator.
This is
wholly.
Google.
Yeah.
This is Google Sheets.
Oh,
which is
it's the Temu version of Sheet.
Yeah, I mean,
Excel.
but it generally look. There's an argument to be made for using Excel versus Google Docs/Sheets because Excel,
one's free.
Yeah, well, one's free. I'm sure Excel is way more intricate, and you can do some. Wow, I mean, you get the Excel championships where people do stuff. Okay, but
Have you watched that? Sorry to interrupt you. It is fucking crazy, that shit.
I have not, but put a pin in it because we'll talk about it.
It's so cool.
Okay. If I put a formula in Excel, there's a good chance it's gonna be like, this formula is wrong for whatever reason, and it won't. It'll be like because blah, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to fix this. Put the same formula in Google Sheets, and it just works. I'm like, thank you, Google. Thank you for speaking dumb for people like me.
That doesn't make much sense, honestly.
No, it doesn't. I mean, granted, I haven't really done formulas in Excel in a long time, but. Well, I say this.
That shit's wizardry, honestly.
Google Docs did give me a date when I said equals sum, work this out. So I don't know. Maybe this Temu version isn't as cracked out as I thought it was.
Have you asked Gemini though?
No, I have not.
Oh, there's your mistake. Gotta ask the AI.
Oh, damn. Well, you're talking about the...
I work with a lot of CAs, and the way they use Excel makes my brain break. It's just like...
Yeah.
They send me things in Excel that I feel like shouldn't ever be in Excel, and yet it works.
That's it, man. Let's pivot back to the Excel World Championships. I've never watched it, but I can only imagine the nonsense.
I'm not entirely sure what happened to the audio.
Oh, did I lose you? Hello?
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh, well, there we go.
That was weird.
What happened? We spoke Excel. You know what? Because we badmouth Excel, and Bill Gates came for us directly. Like,
I don't know what happened. My video is still completely frozen. Oh no, wait, there it's intermittent. Honestly, it might be my end. There were some weird internet issues happening today. So, how do we do this now?
What do you mean? You just carry on.
And we just cut when we got completely disconnected?
No ways, leave it in. It was like 5 seconds. Unless you want to restart.
Well, it felt like longer than 5 seconds. We'll just take it. We'll carry on. I was sitting there in silence for a little bit, but you can also do some post magic. I probably who knows? Yeah. None of this might actually be heard by anyone, so that's great.
I'll do an assessment after, and we can see.
Excel is super powerful, is what I meant to say. Excel is kind of crazy, and so crazy that it could potentially bring down an entire podcast recording. So,
wow,
man, that would have sucked for the last one for the year. I think it would have been worse if we were halfway through this episode, though. So,
yeah, right at the beginning, I can make a plan.
Just cross them thumbs, fingers, appendages, all of the above. I guess let's get into it because this is the final episode of the year, and because of that, we're going to be looking back at some of the best games of the year, many of which you will more than likely be able to guess because, hey, this year's been kind of great, but it's been great for a lot of the same reasons. A lot of people kind of agree that the highs of this year are all pretty much in the same group of 5 to 7 games, or in Matty's case 15, because he just plays
whatever
fucking everything. We're going to be following a similar format to last year, which is an adapted or identical format to one I've liked on another podcast called Nextlander, where we have our top 5 games. We're going to go through them one by one, and we will more than likely have some overlap on our list. So if I mention a game like game A at spot 5 and Matty has game A at spot 2, he'll be like, no, I've got it higher in my list. We'll talk about it when he gets to it. Just so that we don't end up talking about the same games twice and we bring up a game's flowers when it's at the highest point in one of our respective lists, if that kind of makes sense. If that makes absolutely no fucking sense to you,
what flowers are we giving
out.
away? Are we giving away these yellow roses behind me?
Exactly those. I'm so glad you have them in frame.
I'll let Lenska know.
We're going to send that to Hideo Kojima when Death Stranding comes first,
Ooh, okay. We'll see about that.
I think I don't really have many honorable mentions, if any, so I'll let you get to yours first, just because I think you'll have a lot more to get through. So what didn't make your top 5 this year?
Okay, now I've got to change this timestamp because I thought you were going to go first, but it's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How dare you? How dare you do things off the cuff? Okay, so I'm going to fly. I've got 5 honorable mentions that did not make the cut for the top 5. And it's not because they're not good enough. They're really, really great games, but they just weren't as high or as important as other games were for me this year. So starting with the first one, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Great. What probably the best Nintendo game this year. Highly recommend. Absolutely loved it. However, not in my top 5. If you love Mario Odyssey, which I know you did, I mean, that is a 10 out of 10 game for you, and you reviewed it a lifetime
100%.
ago now. You will 100% love this formula in this reimagined 3D Donkey Kong. Definitely play this game. My next game, it should be in my top 5. It could have maybe been if it is, played more recently, but recency bias is a thing. Monster Hunter Wilds. Played it in Feb. Loved it. I forgot they came out this year. Honestly, so I looked at my list, I was like, that really was a long time ago that I played it.
Was in February. It's a very long time ago.
Yeah. Next one, Battlefield 6, a more recent release. I think it's a great return to form for the franchise. I've played a lot of this game this year. And honestly, if we were doing a top 10, I mean, this would have been in my top 10 for sure, along with the games I've just mentioned. Battlefield 6 really good. If you love shooters, if you love just having that chaos of standing on a battlefield and hearing helicopters and jets and rockets and debris fall and everything flying overhead, this game it just nails it. I think it's peak Battlefield, and it takes me back to the good old Bad Company 2 days and Battlefield 3 days. My next game, Blueprints. A great puzzle game.
No ways. I was convinced that was in your top 3 or something.
Top 5. It's a limited number of games. I'm telling you.
I get it. I'm surprised.
This. If you could talk to me next week, maybe it would be in the top 5. But Blueprints it reminds me a lot of Outer Wilds and that kind of puzzle game where you learn, you're doing runs, for lack of a better description, but the knowledge you learn, you keep with you and you use it to do different things on future runs, and it's just a very smart game. Like if you said to me, one of the best games you'll play this year is basically a kind of like a roguelite where you choose between one of 3 rooms and you're building a mansion, I'd be like, what are you on about? It makes sense when you play the game, and it's incredibly smart. Really, really great game. And then the last one on my honorable mentions, if I'd started playing it earlier, it might have been in the top 5. I've played a lot of it in the last week and a bit, is Arc Raiders, where it is just, I'm sure you've heard as well, it's the multiplayer, it won best multiplayer game this year, if I'm not mistaken, at the Game Awards.
Did it?
I think it did.
I'll double check for you quickly.
I'm pretty sure I put money on it. And I only really got to it now because, it's end of the year. I've got a bit of breathing room. And this game is a lot of fun.
You're right, it did.
It's a kind of a weird game to recommend or explain because I've been playing a lot of solo. And if you play solo, you bump into a lot of other players and they're not aggro at all. A lot of people are just running around looting and doing their own quests. And it's kind of cathartic because if you know anything about Arc Raiders, it's a PvE/PvP game, but So if you want that, cathartic, go loot stuff, do quests, cool. But if you want to have a sweaty competitive shooter, you play duos or bigger squads, and then everyone is pretty much looking to murder you, and it's just a completely different game, and it's just been a lot of fun. And I've been playing it the last week or so. So if I played it a month ago, 2 months ago, it might have been in my top 5, but yeah, just an honourable mention. And that's it. That's my quick fast fire 5 games that did not make
Quite
the cut.
honestly surprised by 1 or 2 of those. I will say though that Arc Raiders brings up a point that I want to make, that there's a lot of games from this year that I think might have made my list, but I just haven't got to. Blueprints is definitely one of them. I definitely want to get to it, and it seems like my sort of shit, and I'm pretty sure it would have appeared on mine if I had.
100%.
Arc Raiders, maybe. I'm very curious to try that game out and give it a go. Donkey Kong Bonanza, definitely one of them as well. Yeah, for the most part, I think I'm surprised some of them are on there for you. I have an inkling now of what's on your list, but still just somewhat surprised.
Worth pointing out, I mean, every game of the year list is going to look different to whoever's putting it together. This isn't necessarily, my top 5 is not necessarily, these are, if I were to score these games, these are the 5 highest scored games, on my list.
Oh, no, of course. Yeah.
It's those top 5 will be games that I've either played like the most of, or that surprised me, or there's no real formula. Like I said to you before, and like we always say, we do this episode now. If we did it last week or a week from now, our list could probably look a bit different, with not drastically, but some games will be up or down depending on how we feel on the day. So this list is how we feel right now.
Absolutely. And again, because it's our list, we can choose to put things on here that maybe, I think the majority of the games, or all of the games on your list, are games that released this year. I have one that released last year, but that's by virtue of it coming out very late and all of that. But fact of the matter is, it doesn't have to be calendar year 2025 to qualify. This is our list and we make the rules. So with that in mind, I think the only honorable mention from my end, I don't think it necessarily would have made my list, but I did quite enjoy playing it, was Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like, I played what I needed to play of that and got my fill. I never finished it. I don't think I ever will finish it, but when I was playing it, I was having a good time. And that, I think, speaks volumes, considering I haven't enjoyed my time with that series in a very long time. Yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of misses for me this year. I think Mario Kart World missed a lot for me. Borderlands 4 did pretty much nothing for me. Doom the Dark Ages was like fine. So just like a lot of big ones that I thought would have been big hitters for me this year going into the year just kind of like fell flat, which is interesting, I think, given what did rise to the top during the rest of this year.
Yeah.
With that said, do you want to... Okay, since you started off with the honorable mentions, I'll kick off with my number 5. And I think my number 5 is that game from last year, just because of it being a bit older, and I think definitely showing the quality of what came out this year. But Indiana Jones and the Great Circle came out December last year, December 9th. And I think I only really got around to playing it during the festive season and into January. And that game is just like phenomenal. Just in terms of blowing away my expectations of it, and also drawing me into a property that I don't really have much of a love for. Like, I love Star Wars. I love old Lucasfilm in that sense, but Indiana Jones was not something I grew up with, and I don't really have an affinity for it or Indiana as a character. And I thought the idea of a video game always seems like really cool to me, but getting Machine Games behind it seemed a bit odd, considering their work on Wolfenstein. But I cannot express how cool of a combination it is to be Indiana Jones in a first-person perspective, solving puzzles from that perspective, but then also having a combat system that retains the sort of feeling from the films. Indiana's not he's not Nathan Drake. He's not going into every situation guns blazing, or could survive guns blazing. I think the game gives you a pistol, and I don't think I ever used it once. I always found creative ways to use like hammers or shovels that I pick up, or like using my whip to pull enemies close before I shove them off a cliff, or things like that. I think it does a lot with the creativity of the character and the world to create these like hilarious but also very believable scenarios for Indiana Jones to get wrapped up in. And I think it's a testament to how picking the right developer and having the correct vision can create not only just a really good licensed game, but one that is also surprising in many different ways. And I'm very excited to see Machine Games go and make another one of these, or take what they learned to make another Wolfenstein, or whatever they get put onto next, because I think the studio is now showing that they don't really miss. And I'm hoping that they aren't going to become a casualty of Microsoft just like misusing them, because Indiana Jones happened all way before they got acquired by Microsoft. So curious to see what happens, but a big surprise nonetheless, and definitely one of the best games that Microsoft has published in quite some time.
I'm pretty sure they'll make a sequel for that game, because I think it proved to be more successful than. And again, so India wasn't on my list, and for a number of reasons, it should have been, could have been. I loved it, also played it. But out of interest, after having played the games, have you watched any of the Indiana Jones movies?
I think after playing them, I was like, damn, I should really watch these. I haven't yet, but
Okay.
I do plan to, even if it's just Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I think the Great Circle starts off with, like replicating that opening scene is from there. I know a lot of the modern ones are a bit like or iffy, but I do intend to go back and watch them.
No,
they seem like fun movies.
The only reason I ask is because it'd be so interesting to hear your point of view, having done it the other way around. Because I watched those movies growing up, and then having played the game, you realize, first of all, how really good Troy Baker is, just nailing the role of Indiana Jones, but also how they've just so successfully captured what those movies felt like to watch as a game. And it's weird because when it was first revealed, like, oh, Machine Games is making an Indiana Jones game, like, I'm sure I wasn't alone going, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's going to work. It
seemed like an odd combo.
And having played it now, it's funny how we've almost come super full circle, where I think Lara Croft's Tomb Raider took a lot of inspiration from Indiana Jones franchise of, there's this globe-trotting adventurers exploring tombs, and then Uncharted took inspiration from Tomb Raider, and then now Indiana Jones is like the next evolution, kind of, where it felt like a proper, when we spoke about the Game Awards, it's the very definition of an action adventure game, where it is this really great mix of 1 second you're looking at your notebook and you're solving a puzzle, and the next, like you said, you whipping an enemy and like getting out of a tight situation, not guns blazing like the other two characters would have done, Nathan Drake and Lara Croft. But yeah, what a great game, and I'm pretty sure we'll see a sequel at some stage. Like, I don't see them not doing a sequel to this.
I hope so. It was just a really surprising game. I should actually go back and play the DLC that they brought out earlier this year for it.
Yeah.
I do just want to see more of that world. I'm just recalling how bonkers the ending for that game is as well. It is just absolutely wild.
Really dumb name, the Great Circle. What does this mean? But when the big payoff, it's shown, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. What a smart idea, or premise,
I think just the way it jumped between, these big open areas like Giza and the Vatican that you could kind of explore and pick apart at your own pace. And then it plunges you into these set pieces that are just like awe-inspiring. The Snowy Mountains and Shanghai ones come to mind especially. They're just, one of the best looking games out there as well, but just really, really clever design decisions made from the perspective that you're given the player. It's remarkable. It's like Machine Games understood the brief here and then excelled.
My God, they knocked it out the park. And again, I
really did.
I did not expect that. I really didn't.
Yeah, not at all.
So,
yeah.
Cool. That is your number 5. My number 5. This one is here for equally surprising reasons. Is Elden Ring Night Rain, because when this game,
not on my list, so go for it.
When this game was announced and then launched, whatever, it was one of those things where I love From Software games. I loved Elden Ring. I love Dark Souls. I love Bloodborne. I'm like, a roguelite game that mixes you playing as a character, fighting familiar bosses and new bosses, and building your character as you do a run. It's like, I'll play it for 30, 40 hours. I don't know how it'll work from a Dark Souls or Elden Ring point of view, but I'm there. I'm keen to see how it plays out. And the game isn't perfect. Like, it's got flaws, it's got issues, but I played more than 100 hours of this game this year, 115 hours. The DLC came out a couple of weeks ago. I've played that. It's got new characters, new bosses, and just what a surprise, honestly, and a good time. It's one of those instances where I can't believe it wasn't done before. It sounds dumb now. It sounds ridiculous that no one thought, let's just make a Dark Souls roguelite, basically. And that's what From Software did. And man, I think, like I said, the game's rough in certain aspects, but if they keep supporting this, and if they in the long term look at a sequel, take the lessons learned, man, I'm there for it. I had a lot of fun with this game. It's my number 5 for that reason. More time played than I would have ever thought. From 30 to 40 hours to 115-ish hours. Not on my bingo.
It is kind of insane. And I think the game has gone through kind of it's definitely gained momentum since it launched early this year. Because I remember when it did launch, there was a lot of skepticism over the quality of it. There was, the critical response wasn't as strong as you'd expect from a From Software title. And there was definitely this air of they've experimented in a way that might not land with everyone. And I think I've only heard more and more about it as the year has gone by. And I think the game found its niche with the players that really clicked with it. Yeah. People like you. And I don't think it is going to be one of those widely adopted things like Elden Ring was. And it definitely isn't. It hasn't captured the same audience. But it is really cool that From Software didn't just immediately shut that thing down. And that they are releasing a lot of content for it. And it seems to be landing with players who keep coming back. So really curious to see what lessons they learn from that and what maybe they move, what they bring with to the Duskbloods on Nintendo Switch 2 and how it informs their design of their games going forward. Yeah,
you got to come jump in for a run or two, because the way the game's designed, you can equip gems to give you buffs or perks, whatever, but they're not these huge game-changing things. And there's no sort of, not like Hades where, you can kind of unlock cards or you can buff certain things before you go into a run. This is just straight up you run and you equip weapons as you play. So you can basically just start and not have to worry about, you're 115 hours behind my progress. It doesn't make a difference, really.
It's just more like you have a better idea of what to do.
Yeah,
it's a knowledge thing. Yeah. Cool.
Your number 4.
My next one is one I'm almost certain is going to be higher on your list. So I'm just going to mention it here and we'll chat about it later. But it's Hollow Knight Silksong.
It's high on my list.
high on your list. Okay, so we'll get to it when we get to yours. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot of these where we're crisscrossing because I think,
Okay. Well,
so what's your number 4?
I'm very curious to see where this falls on your list, because I know it's on your list. My number 4 is Death Stranding 2. This high.
Yeah, it's on the list.
This
well, we can. So that would be 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, we can talk about it now because that's my number 3. So that was going to be my next mention. So this game, up until maybe a month ago when I finished it, was probably not even going to be in my top 5, because I think when it came out, I played it, I had to jump off onto other things, but it hadn't gripped me in a way where I was like, wow, I'm really missing playing Death Stranding 2. And it was only, again, listening to people talk about it throughout the year who had been playing it very slowly and hearing anecdotally about how weird it gets in the end. I was like, I should go back and play this. And I'm so glad I did, because sitting down with it properly and only focusing on it for an extended period of time really got me into the loop of its gameplay and just how crazy a lot of that gameplay gets, but also B, how endearing its story can get, while also just retaining a lot of Kojima and his team's weirdness. So I think it does toe the line of being a bit too ridiculous at times, but I can't fault the ambition that this game has, how distinct and unique it feels in both mechanics and thematics. It's just, it really is a unique thing that you can only really get in video games as a medium. And I just thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. Also, just probably one of the best looking games of the year by far. Just an absolute tour de force in terms of visuals and audio and yeah, phenomenal game that I felt really emotional with till the end. And I know some people they take that they see it the other way and they find it quite annoying and almost like Kojima needs an editor, but it really resonated with me, and I felt a sort of like loss when I finished the game in a way that a lot of other games haven't done in quite some time. So yeah, it's a really special game.
Yeah, I will say just quickly on that point where some people say, "Oh, Kojima needs like an editor." Go play Death Stranding 1. The contrast between Death Stranding 1 and Death Stranding 2 of how this game's cut away a lot of the nonsense, or the quick examples. Death Stranding 1 starts and it takes you like hours before you really start to get a feel, or to understand what the hell the game's going on about, whatever. Death Stranding 2, of course there's an intro, but it gets you straight into the game a lot quicker, and I feel like there's a lot less hour-long cinematics. It's really just, I don't know, it feels like whether it was Kojima or his team or someone, it was edited, I think, in a really smart way compared to the first game. And you mentioned, does it straddle the line between too ridiculous sometimes? No, I think it's perfect. It can be as ridiculous as it wants to be, and I love it more for that. When some stuff happens that game, and I just burst out laughing because it completely catches me by surprise. And I think, how is this in a game? Who Kojima or whoever wrote this, like, yes, we will make this. And I love them more for that, because there was this thing of, people are going to criticize or say this is too ridiculous. I'm like, no, you do exactly as you envisioned it, and I'm there for it. I'll eat it up, and I did. I love this game just as much as you. And it was also, again, one of those surprising things where Death Stranding 1, and I'm sorry I keep making the comparison, it's the easiest way for me to sort of balance like why I have this view in the game. Death Stranding 1 will always be the game that I use this example of. It's a game I think everyone should play, but I cannot recommend it to people, because I know it takes dozens of hours for that payoff, and for you to really understand, like, oh, this is what the game's about. I get it now. But I kind of forgot about that. So when Death Stranding 2 came out, I was like, yeah, I'll play it. It's having forgotten just how much I loved the shit out of Death Stranding 1. Playing this game, it was like I inhaled this game over a couple of weeks, played 45, 50 hours, and it's the same loop. It's Sam doing his thing, carrying packages, there's combat between cinematics, and I was there for it. So just absolutely loved it. And yeah, as you said, like, gorgeous game, one of the best openings I've seen in a game ever, like hands down. Great soundtrack. I mean, Woodkid and what's the other dude's name?
Ludwig.
Yeah, just the soundtrack in this
Johnson,
game,
I think.
how Kojima and this team have like hand chosen just cool songs. I'm telling you, Kojima's like, put the song in the game at the specific moment just because I like it.
Oh, that's 100% what that was.
And it just works. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I'd recommend it to everyone. Even if you don't think you'll enjoy it, you have to try this game. It'll completely surprise you.
I think this one's also far easier to recommend than the first one, just because,
for sure.
It was a criticism I had that it is a bit easier to play. A lot of the edges have been sanded down, and I do think that takes away from it feeling a bit more survivalist and difficult. But by the same token, there are areas that are just so much better than the first game. Like this, for all intents and purposes, feels like a sequel to Metal Gear Solid 5. The combat is way more refined. It is actually a feature now rather than a thing you just avoid because it's so awkward. And yes, you have to like suspend your disbelief a little bit in how they present weapons and combat, but it still means that I do a lot of sneaking into bases. I do a lot of firefights, and I'm encouraged to do those things, whereas the first game kind of just made them awkward and clunky. And I think just getting around the environment is a bit easier, but by the same token, you've still got these cool little tools that you can engage with to make it even easier, and those feel really rewarding to get set up, like zipline networks or repairing the tram line or highways, things like that. You can play the game in a way that makes it boring, and I think I did that for a very long time. And I do wish the game maybe pushed back a little bit on that sort of like playstyle, but there are ways in which it does present difficulty, but in a way that I think still allows it to encourage more and more people to play it. And I think that goes for the story as well. Like the story in the first game is batshit crazy as well, but it is so concerned with making metatextual references that it kind of loses itself in all of that noise. And I think here it focuses a lot more on characters and like themes that actually make sense and resonate with players. And I think because of that, you get a much better story for like Sam, a significantly better one for Higgs, and just all the characters around get moments where the first game was just like being weird for weird's sake in some instances.
Yeah. Still can't believe, I still think back to when we saw Death Stranding announced at E3 going, what is this game? Do you really...
we were there.
Do you really just walk around and deliver packages? And it came out, and yes. Well, it's not just that, but you know what I mean? That is the core loop, and we've got a sequel now, and it's one of the best games we've played this year.
It is kind of remarkable how quickly Kojima Productions got this stuff done. Like, they only celebrated their 10th anniversary like a few weeks ago. So the studio was only founded like 10 years ago, and they've put out 2 games of this caliber already. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, and they're working on what's that game for? OD. Man. Yeah. Let's see. They've established this franchise for... It's not like a Sony-owned franchise, but it's so associated with Sony.
Yeah. Well, it's on Xbox, the first one. Yeah.
No, for sure. But you know what I mean? It's on the Decima engine.
It's like exclusive. Yeah. It's on the Decima engine, and it's exclusive on PlayStation, when it launches. So, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if you go up to someone and they think it's a Sony exclusive, and that's probably, by design. But OD's the reverse of that. So curious to see how that pans out.
Let's see what the new RP looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
My
number 3 for you, because that was my number 3.
The way our list pans out is going to be pretty obvious from now, I think. My number 3, which I think will surprise you, is Hades 2.
Nope, that pretty much solidifies where I think yours is going. Yeah. Mine, I mean, that's definitely higher on mine.
That's higher on the list, okay. So we'll put a pin in that. Do you want to tell me what your number 2 is?
I mean, there can only be 2, obviously. My number 2 is Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Okay, well, there we go. Clair Obscur's higher on my list. Okay, you can do the math.
Shocker. So that only really leaves one game for your number 2 then.
Oh, yeah. Well, what do you want to talk about first? Should we just talk about our favorite 3 games this year, pretty much? Well, you've spoken about...
pretty much.
Well, let's talk about... Okay, you mentioned Silksong is your number 4. Silksong
Correct, yeah.
My number 2.
Your number 2.
Okay. And I know you've played, like 10-ish hours of this game?
Yeah, 10-ish hours. I mean, I do want to get back to it. No, I haven't made it to Act 2.
Yeah, okay, but I'll just talk very... I'm just going to make a timestamp here quickly. What is this? We had 33 minutes. Let's think through this list here. Okay. Silksong 2. Silksong 2. I'm getting ahead of myself. Silksong 1, aka
2030.
Hollow Knight 2, if you want to put it that way, is one of those games where we knew it was coming for a long time. Announced many years ago. Studio went radio silence. Finally showed signs of life this year. Game came out this year. Can't believe it. And it's one of those things where you think, holy shit, how does a sequel follow Hollow Knight? It better be spectacular, because fan expectation is just too high now because the wait was so long. And let me tell you, this game was worth the wait. I think it's one of those things where you can see that all those years was just really used to craft and just finesse and fine-tune this game across everything, from visuals to combat to exploration to story. And it's funny because I think after the game launched, it basically came out that they didn't need to make money, so they were just happy to take their time with this game, which is a good right. And Silksong is just a phenomenal game. I think you will get to why it's not my game of the year, but it is, just one of the best made games I think ever made. Like I'd put it in a top 100 list, or top 20 games of all time list. Just on all fronts, I can't flaw it. Apart from one thing, which is the run back to bosses. That I think is like the only criticism I have, along with many other people, include like whether you a sicko like me who enjoys super hard games, or someone who's just like, I'm just dipping my toe into Silksong and it's too hard, the runbacks are a bit frustrating. But if you can look past that and acknowledge the game for everything else it's done, it's just stellar. It's so worth playing, and making it to the end, getting the true ending, which I think Hollow Knight was a bit vague, if I recall. I remember finishing the game going like, okay, Googling it and going, oh, there's a true ending. I've got to go do a whole lot of things to, get this true ending. Silksong, I feel they learned the lesson where I didn't Google a thing. I figured out the true ending just naturally and what people in the game told me and places I explored. And man, what a journey. It's one of those things you have to play and finish this game to like really, really appreciate what they've done. It's astonishing how big and how layered and how good it is.
Yeah, I feel bad not having played as much or more of Silksong this year, but it was just a case of I wanted to find a time where that's all I wanted to dedicate to it. That's why I got things out of the way in anticipation of playing it, during the holiday season now. Because it happened to me with the first one where I picked away at it a little bit and then wasn't really clicking with it. And only when I restarted and only played that did it, the original Hollow Knight become like one of the best games I've ever played. So Silksong is, it is still high on my list. It's on my list because I can already tell it has the quality there, and I've already loved what I have played. I feel it's way more challenging than the first game, but in many good ways. I think the runbacks are not great, and it is a thing that I think Team Cherry should listen to in terms of criticism. I know they say it's a very intentional design thing, but I just don't agree with it. But I'm curious to see where the studio goes with it. They've already announced like new DLC for it coming soon. Maybe that turns into a third game. Who fucking knows? Because like Silksong was meant to be DLC.
Don't even say it.
But there was a lot of cool free DLC for the first game. So if they get to like add that very naturally to Silksong over time, that would be really cool. But I echo what you say. You can just from playing it for a little bit, you can feel the amount of care and craft that went into this over the many years of development. It doesn't feel like wasted time. There's so many little touches and flares that can only be afforded with the amount of time that Team Cherry was given. And that was all afforded based off of how good Hollow Knight itself was, that it could sustain the studio for this long. So it is really cool that it is finally out. It's been years and years of waiting and years of teasing. And I think it's so far delivered on the promise of all of that. So it is a phenomenal game and definitely one of the best in the Metroidvania genre, especially in a year where you've got your tempo titles like Metroid Prime 4 not really hitting the mark in terms of that. Like, this seems like the new age. This is the new torchbearer for this franchise going forward, for this genre going forward. And I think a lot of games can learn some really good lessons from it. So, yeah, it is a pretty phenomenal game, and I'm very excited to play more of it.
Yeah, I think that's also just why it ranks so highly on my list and on many lists, is that it actually held up to the expectations, to the lofty expectations that people had. I mean, it's one of those weird things where it was kind of not on the same scale, don't get me wrong, but kind of approaching Half-Life 3 territory. It's like, is this game going to come out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. If it comes out, it better be the best thing ever. And it was the best thing ever for a lot of players, myself included. Like, I inhaled this game. I played probably like 45, 50 hours, and just great time. And again, we'll move on to the next game shortly, but it's one of those things, because it's a Metroidvania as well, it's kind of open in how you explore and you discover things. I was playing this alongside John Michael, and it was such a funny thing trying to talk about what we were doing without trying to spoil it for the other person. So it was like, have you done, you try to find a way to be like, oh, cool, you have been there. Oh my God, like, how amazing was this area or this boss? Or like, oh no, you haven't been there. Like, let me know when you do this thing, and then we can talk about it. And then having finished the game kind of around the same time together, and just talking about, and obviously seeing like how differently we did it, it's unreal. Really, really great game.
I just realized before we move on, there's a game that I thought would be on your list that you didn't mention in
Oh
your
God, did I forget
honorable
it?
mentions. Peak. I thought Peak
Oh,
would definitely
Peak.
be one.
Peak,
Yeah.
I enjoyed Peak, but it's one of those things where it's good. I appreciate Peak, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe if you spoke to me in a week from, I'm like, yes, Peak should be on my list. But it can get an honorable mention. Peak is a great multiplayer, fun game to play with friends. But yeah, it wasn't in my top 5.
No, just when I didn't hear it in your honorable mentions, I was like, wow, that's going to be a cool outlier for your top 5. And now I'm thinking about it, it's like there's no way it's here, so.
Let's not forget it must have been last year. The top 5 where I just left Balatro off completely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You're like,
I remember
can't
that.
believe
yeah.
Balatro is like in your top 3. I was like, what? It's like I forgot that game came out this year. Well, now the question is, do you want to talk about your game of the year or my game of the year, because they're interchangeable?
Well, yeah,
they basically inverse of each other. Our first and second position.
So yeah, let's talk about my top game of the year, and it shouldn't be a surprise given what I was saying about it earlier this year. But Hades 2, Hades 2 is not the sequel I thought would be topping my chart this year. If you had asked me when Silksong got a release date, it was definitely going to be that. And then, Hades 2 got a 1.0 release 2 weeks later, which is kind of insane. Like September basically had 2 of the most anticipated indie games of recent memory out in the same month. Yeah, crazy timing. And Hades 2 is a very large reason why I didn't jump into Silksong, is because, I wanted to play it, I was reviewing it, and it absolutely consumed me. I mean, I'm on 100 hours plus with Hades 2 across its early access and its release. And it is so remarkable to have a game like Hades 1, which is, in my opinion, as close to perfect a game you can get. It just sets out and achieves everything it's going for. It presents a whole new way to tell stories in roguelites, an approach that actually hasn't even been attempted by anyone else since. No. And it just featured great moment-to-moment gameplay and a great story. And then Hades 2 comes along and makes the first game seem old by comparison, despite it still being probably one of the best roguelites in the industry. It just has a significantly better combat loop with Malinois and her new abilities, and the way it slows down combat with her casts and doesn't rely on completely overzealous zigzagging with dodges. I think its story is so much better because it's not so straightforward. It's not just Zagreus trying to escape Hades itself or hell, but instead about Malinois trying to figure out what happened to her family. Zagreus, her father, her mother, and trying to deal with this threat to the heavens and hell respectively. I think the way it interweaves that story with all these new characters and gives characters so much depth through all of the writing that you experience through each run is just remarkable. The fact that you're getting new lines so consistently, even now 100 hours later, I'm still hearing new things, exploring new avenues with different characters. It is just, the scope of it is just unbelievable for a studio of this size. And then on top of that, you've got just scale. I mean, this game is 2 games in one if you compare it to the first game. It is, it's got a bottom route and a top route, and each one of those routes is as large as the first Hades in size and scope and complexity. And just the fact that they got all of this in there while still feeling super balanced, super fun to play with every single new run. It's just remarkable. Supergiant has peaked in a way that I didn't think they needed to, and I think I said this after the first one as well, but I don't know where they go from here, because they've set such a high standard for themselves with this game. It almost seems impossible for them to top it somehow. But I fully expect them to, and I fully expect them to do it with something different, because Hades 2 is their first sequel ever. I don't think they will make a Hades 3. At least maybe not now.
Not for a long time.
And I'm so curious to see them go into something that maybe isn't a roguelite again, like their previous games, or maybe do something smaller in scope, but take all of the lessons they've learned and apply it to that, because this studio can do no wrong in my eyes. And Hades 2 is just the best roguelite you will ever play, probably. And it's leagues ahead of anything else in its class. So yeah, just a great game that I enjoyed melting hours to, and that I'll probably hop back into every now and then just to have a good time. Play Hades 2. It's just really good.
It's one of those things where I see the same. I see Silksong in the same way where it was like Hollow Knight's the perfect Metroidvania. Like how's Team Cherry going to make it? How's Silksong going to be better? And you play it now and you're like, oof, Hollow Knight's still good, but Silksong just really elevated, everything that came before it. And Hades 2 is exactly what you said. It's that. Hades 1 is phenomenal. I'm sure it was on our Game of the Year lists 3-4 years ago when it came out.
Oh yeah, probably.
And you think, well, that game's kind of perfect. Like, how do you make it better? And then Supergiant's, well, actually, we gave you one route. We're going to give you another route in this game. You're going to have a top run and a bottom run, and it's going to be as complex, as detailed, and we're going to give you all these new characters and all these new lines. We're going to feed you. Yeah, I'm just echoing what you've said, where even now, I haven't played as much as you have, but playing like hour 50, doing a run, in those 50 hours doing a run I've probably never done before because of just the randomness of how I've been given boons and how even if it's kind of things I don't normally pick, I'm like, oh, I've got a poor selection, I'll take this. And then it ends up being viable because I happen to pair it with something else I never thought about. And it always feels fun. I've never reached an end of a run going like, well, I was absolutely screwed that run because for whatever reason. I think that's what makes it so magical, is that it's so fine-tuned and balanced and everything feels good to use. Doesn't matter what weapon you're using, even if it's your least favorite weapon. You might be using it because you're trying to fill out something that list, the fate list, whatever it's called. You end up having a dream run with it. I mean, that happens to me several times. And yeah, it's just what a fun game to play. And I'm definitely going to keep playing it. So I've put it to bed for now, but I know I'll crack it open in a month or 2 or 3 or 4 and do a couple runs and just get hooked again. Put another 50 hours or so in. Yeah, what a phenomenal game. Visually as well, just I love the style. I love that.
Oh, the soundtrack.
The soundtrack, but even just visually, I feel like it's so distinctly Supergiants, from the character portraits and the color palettes and all of that. It's phenomenal. Really, really good.
Yeah, you can pick out one of their games from afar. Like, and I think what's cool is that it's an evolved style from, you look at their first game with Bastion and you can see the lineage that it's taken, to get to like Hades. They have a distinct Supergiant look and they've never lost that, but they've somehow maintained distinctness and also just they've improved it over time. So yeah, I mean, Hades 2 looks phenomenal. It is a really beautiful game. Like the first time I burst into Olympus, put it that way, it is just like, it floors you with the amount of color and detail, and it's it fires on all cylinders, that game. And I know some people have issue with the ending. I find it quite cool. I think thematically it works, and it kind of goes in a direction that you don't expect, which is kind of cool as well. So yeah, I'm really, really curious to see what they do next, because I was not expecting a sequel after Hades, and I suspect we won't have to wait long to see what they are cooking up next, maybe about a year or so, because they like doing this early access run now, and I think they're going to continue with that because it has helped them like craft 2 of the best games they've ever made. So I see them going that route again, which probably means we'll hear about it relatively soon, and I'm really stoked to see what it is.
And then I'll have to wait like 3-4 years to play it when it officially launches.
Oh, I guess if it's not a roguelite, it's a bit harder to do as an early access because it's not like run-based things that you're fine-tuning. So
if it's a game like Transistor where it's a single-player linear game, I don't know if they'll go the early access route. But like you said, maybe it's the smaller project. They go, actually want to take a break from doing this kind of game. We're going to just experiment and try the smaller project, see how it pays off. And I don't think they'll miss. I think even like I've yet to play Pyre, but Pyre is this weird thing where it's like a sports management game. I know it's not a sports management game, but it kind of is.
It's more a sports game. I wouldn't say sports management game.
Oh, okay. More, well, you know what I mean? It's just so unexpected from them.
Yeah, completely different. You like Bastion's a third-person action game, or God, what's the one you just mentioned now? Transistor's more like turn-based. Pyre is very narrative sports. I had never finished Pyre, and I really should, because A lot of people consider it the best story Supergiant's ever made.
Oh.
I do love the soundtrack, but I should probably give it a go and finish it again. But
Mm.
I do remember the sports element being quite fun.
Yeah.
But again, just the range that the studio has.
Mm.
Maybe they go and do, I don't know, first-person game next in that art style. Who the fuck knows?
That would be surprising. A first person
Yeah.
something in their style. I'd be down for that.
What if they make a Metroidvania?
My goodness. Yeah. Now we're cooking with gasoline.
Yeah, that I could see them do that, because if you told me, oh, Supergiant's making a roguelite, I'd be like, seems a stretch considering their games prior. I could see them do it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see. Well, it'll be interesting to see what indie studios do next. And I'm not just talking about Supergiant, because even just given how the Game Awards went this year, a lot of indie representation, like more indie than AAA.
Tons, yeah.
So
Tons.
Yeah. Which brings us to
your number one,
your number two,
my number two.
Big surprise, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. And I will say it's a big surprise because I'll tell the story till the day I die. This is a game that you and Darren and other people are talking about. It's a game coming to Game Pass, turn-based, kind of JRPG, whatever it was. And I was like, do I have the time to really put into this game? I don't know much about it. It looks okay, whatever. Until it launching on Game Pass and people going, listen, this game is really, really good. And then I tried it and was like, you know what? These people are right. This game is not at all what I expected. And it just fires on all cylinders on all fronts, from the visual. Like, there's something to be said about the visual, like the actual execution, but the art direction, I don't think you can argue with. It's just like astounding. From that to the turn-based gameplay, to the music, to the characters, to the story, it just ticks all the boxes. And I think the real reason it ended up being my game of the year is the same reason I chose it as my game of the year for the Game Awards. Why I thought it would win is because Silksong, really good. We've seen it before. Hades 2, really good. We've seen it before. They're sequels to games. Like, that's their biggest sin. It's not really a sin. Expedition 33 is just brand new IP that came out of nowhere. And my God, from like a nothing, no-name studio, their first debut game, really, really, sure, stellar efforts. What do they do next? Probably a sequel, but this is just such a high for them, honestly. Like, what a game to open with.
Yeah, when you were talking about what they do next, I think that's everyone's sort of question is, how do they do something next after just blowing it out the water with their first attempt? So I equally love this game. I think I was drawn to it initially just because it looked like Persona. Like when they showed trailers last year, and I'm like, wow, that menu is, the turn-based menu is heavily inspired by the style of Persona, and it just being like very dynamic and in your face. But the gameplay could honestly be, it's nowhere near what Persona is. It is turn-based. It is what a lot of JRPGs or RPGs of that ilk used to be, but it is also a character action game at heart. Like, the game director is widely known to be a huge fan of like Devil May Cry, and you can feel that sort of energy in its turn-based structure, where you are as much pulling off blocks and parries as you are deciding what your next attack is. And I think that lends the combat a sense of it's so dynamic in a way that makes other turn-based games feel sluggish and slow, but also just proof that that sort of game or that sort of style of game still has space to grow. I think you look at Square Enix and them not understanding what to do with Final Fantasy because they think people don't like turn-based games anymore. It just shows that they maybe had run out of ideas rather than fan expectations changing. And I think Expedition 33 is 100% going to see a lot of other games trying this sort of style, or maybe returning to this sort of gameplay in the same way that Baldur's Gate 3 kind of like reminded people, hey, CRPGs aren't an old thing. If they're done correctly, this has wide mass appeal. And I think just from that perspective, it should be applauded. But the thing that really stuck with me with this game is just its story. It is heartbreaking and raw and real. It, Death Stranding 2 dealt with loss in a way that I thought was kind of novel, but then also gets lost in the weeds of Kojima being like strange. This game is so in tune with what that means and how it can be translated into a story that is both fantastical and whimsical at times, but also just very real. And I've said it before, but that final scene in the game, not the bad ending, quote unquote, but the actual ending to the game, the canonical one, I think about it a lot because it's hard hitting, and it's not the ending you want to a game like this, but it is the one that it kind of like deserves and the one that it was leading up to the entire time. And it's heartbreaking. It's sad, but it's exceptional. Like hitting credits on that game is something. And the studio should be applauded for what they pulled off here. Obviously, it's not my number one, and I think the reason for that is what I've discussed before. I just don't like Act 3. I think it's weird and poorly paced and pushes the combat in a direction that I didn't really like, and I think focuses on a type of player that is not everyone's play style, and I just wish I'd maybe ignored a lot of the side stuff and just gone and done the end and just like left it at that, because it would have maybe not soured me as much. But other than that, there's very little to fault with this game, I think.
What is the canonical ending? I didn't realize that they said like this is
yeah, maybe I'm wrong in that. I remember them actually now on stage at the Game Awards saying they like the debate between which players think is the real ending. I don't think they've specifically said which is canonical, but I think you and I both agree what is the better ending, and this is probably not the ending you want to end on.
Well, which one did you choose?
Well, I chose Verso.
So I chose Mael, and that's the bad ending to me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you see, I went back and looked at it, and I was like, oh, yeah, this definitely doesn't feel like the ending.
Yeah, when I chose that ending, I mean, okay, we're not going to spoil it, but it's one of those things where I chose the ending, and I felt so uncomfortable. I was like man, I was completely taken by this choice. I was like, it's the logical choice. Watching it, I was like, man, I made the wrong choice. I did my boy Verso so dirty.
Did you go back and see Verso's ending?
I've seen the other ending, and but again, it's one of those things where I think some of the best games are those where you can't agree what is the right thing, what is the right choice. It is this thing of like, no, Verso's ending is better because X, Y, Z. Mel's ending is better because X, Y, Z. I think a lot of the best media, just in everything from books to films to whatever, it's those endings that are kind of like ambiguous and not clearly defined. So but I think just to go back quickly to the story, you mentioned the word novel earlier, and I think that's what really took me with this game, where the premise is there's a paintress, she paints a number every year going down, and people below that age or above that age get erased. Like, who thought of that? Like, what an interesting premise. And the whole thing is you trying to stop her. You Expedition 33. Next year you're going to be erased. Now, how do you stop her? And it is this journey. It's super whimsical, and you think, how does this world exist? Like, you fighting these huge things. You got these magical powers, and as you play the game, you obviously figure out, oh, this is what's going on. Just what an interesting original idea. I thought. I don't know if it takes inspiration from specific other books or media or whatever, but to me it was just completely fresh. And I throw the word unexpected around a lot because it just completely took me by surprise this year. I think that's why it's my game of the year. Great game.
Yeah, I'd kind of love to know if it has like sort of narrative inspirations, because I haven't heard the studio's Sandful Interactive like talk about that, but I'm the same as you. I can't think off the top of my head something that kind of embodies what the story that they're telling you, because it is, even just the basic premise is just there for the first like act or two, and it kind of gets blown wide open. I think at the end of Act 2, that's where everyone was like, "Oh my god, like this is actually what's happening in this game," and it's mind blowing. I remember I was driving somewhere with Shani, and I'm like, I have to explain this to you just so I understand it a bit better. And me trying to explain what was going on and what this actually meant, and what I don't think she fully understood what I was trying to say, but it helped me put like certain pieces together.
Yeah.
and just the sort of, it's not the sort of like rug pull twist where it's like, oh, everything you know is wrong. It is, it's kind of that, but also like, oh, this gives so many of these moments so much more context, and I understand a lot of why this character was acting this way or not. But then it's also the small things that you don't really think about, or they make you uncomfortable to think about. Like, you hear about it at the beginning, but you hear it more in like audio log, or the, you know, the memories left behind by the expeditions. But like, as this number goes down and as more people get like taken away, you think of how many more and more children are becoming like orphans, which is really like messed up. And you hear stories about how there are parents who don't want to have kids because they know they will only be around for like the first 4 years of their existence. It's like, it's hectic. There are ideas in this game that are really like uncomfortable to think about, but they are presented in a way that is thoughtful. It's not there for shock value, and they all tie into the central theme of like loss and processing loss that I think is very, very effective. And, you know, it's not the easiest game to sit with mentally afterwards, but I think it's cool that we can get a message like that out in a game that is also just this fun and interesting to play.
I also think you touched on it earlier, but like for me, the biggest flaw of the game is that some of the Act 3 content is just side content, where it should have just been, you should have entered Act 3, and I think they should have been like, cool, before you can finish this game, you have to go to this location, you have to go to this thing. They just kind of put you in Act 3, it's like, nah, you can finish it now if you want, or you can go explore. And it's like, that's weird. Like, it's one of those games where I really enjoyed being taken by the hand, being like told, you know, you have to come here, you have to come here, you have to go there, you have to do this. And having that, making it open like that, I think just distilled the experience up, you know, from that moment onwards, where there's so much side content. You can go, I've kind of had enough for this game, I'm going to go finish it now. You'll just miss complete characters just tucked away in like a little side village or whatever. And they should have, I think that's something they should have definitely reconsidered. But that said, it's still a phenomenal game. And I completely get you. The build crafting is not for everyone. I enjoyed it. It was just good fun. It just, when I had this huge like arsenal of pictos to choose from, going like, cool, how do I now put these together to just like do stupid, crazy things? And I mean, one of the best parts of any RPG is the thing of when you can start combining things and start thinking of how to solve problems, or like, you know, quotes unquote, cheat the game, because you just can do it. I think there's a lot of tools in there that are just fun to play with. So great
for
game.
sure. Yeah. No, it is great. And I think it's not a perfect game, which probably means, you know, Sandfall Interactive can take whatever lessons they can from the parts that maybe people didn't vibe with as much. And I'm curious to see, I know they've said that they have ideas for other games in this universe. Like, this definitely feels like a story that doesn't need a direct sequel, and I don't think really will get a direct sequel. But I think this setting that they've established has so much more that it can be told here. And I hope it's like similar gameplay. It doesn't have to be. It would be really interesting for them to kind of like bounce between different ideas, sort of like Remedy is doing with Control and its sequel. You know, the same sort of setting, same universe, but vastly different gameplay styles. I don't know. This is also a smaller studio, so maybe they aren't open to that sort of risk. I think just anything that Sandfall Interactive announces from here on out is going to be very, very keenly watched. And just curious to see where this team goes. They put out some additional content at the Game Awards to kind of celebrate their wins there, which is also the most fucking baller move I've ever seen. Like, they could have announced that DLC drop at any point, but they seemed so confident they were going to win Game of the Year that they waited to do it at their last possible moment. Damn. Crazy. Just so crazy. But I want to jump back into that. I've heard that there's a boss encounter there that is like the hardest the game has, so really curious to see you give that a go as well.
I know. Can I tell you, I look at that, I'm like, I did the hardest boss in the base game, and that wasn't me memorizing all the parries, whatever. I was like, ain't nobody got time for that. That was me build crafting, like one-shotting the boss. But after like probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just fine tuning and getting it right, trying to figure out, well, how do I keep pushing my damage numbers up? And like, that's where I got fun from. Don't know if I can do that with the new optional boss.
Yeah, I never played that boss. I mean, this is Simon for sure. I've just seen videos of people parrying all his attacks, and I'm like, nah, I'm good, hey? That's just on another level, and I'm happy with the experience I had with the game. I don't need that to make it better or worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, last thing I'll say about Expedition 33, they gave us Eskia, best character. Hands down, one of the best characters ever created. Just
some days are we, some days are woo. Oh,
yeah,
love that, man.
Great game.
Yeah, just knowledge embodied in a body filled with wine. What a guy.
Just knowledge.
What a fucking
guy.
Guy.
Complete childlike persona, and then he smacks you with some truly unexpected, insightful, fruitful food. Like, damn, Eskia, that is, man. I mean, let me just write this down. There's some good life advice, right?
But it's actually, now you make me think, like, there's a lot of characters with some, like, really great moments in that game. Like, Monoko and Versa's relationship is just really cool. And then when you figure out a lot of the context of who Monoko is and who Versa is, it's even cooler. I don't know who you kind of went the path down with, because you can, like, romance either, is it Luna and, is it Ciel? Ciel? Wow, I can't talk. You can romance one of them, and I think depending on who you do, you get different, like, character moments with them. But Ciel has a really hectic backstory.
Her backstory is hardcore.
Yeah, it's really, really hectic. But again, ties in beautifully with the thematics of the game, and just every like cutscene moment with her was just really, really cool. Like, really well written, really earnest, and all of the voice acting just across the board. Like, there's a reason 2 of the voice actors got nominated. I think you could have had a best Expedition 33 performance.
3 were nominated, which is wild.
3 with Jennifer English.
Yeah,
Charlie Cox. I forgot about.
He was also nominated.
That was a weird one.
It was a strange nomination. Also, like, he was good. Don't get me wrong, but
could have nominated pretty much anyone else from the party over him. I think. Anyway, it's just top to bottom really good. And just shows what you can do with a bit of, I think, smart design, ambitious design as well. And it doesn't need to be the most expensive game in the world. And this proves it. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Game of the year 2025. What a banger of a year. Some
banger of a year.
Phenomenal games this year. And that's going to be us for the year.
Pretty much, yeah. I think it's been a stellar year. Obviously, we're recording when we can, but we'll see what happens in January, because who knows? By the time we record again, I might have another person in the household, and how that affects our recording schedule.
The third chair on the podcast. Wow, what a waste!
Finally, I only had to birth one. or be involved in the conception of one. I am not birthing anything. It's a hectic time. It's a special time.
Yeah, I think the long and the short is, if you do not see us in Jan or Feb or March, like, I'll try to be good on socials to announce whatever, but there's a child expected, which we cannot predict, and we don't know what's going to happen beyond that. So we'll be in touch. We'll see how things go.
Yeah, we'll keep things updated as best we can, and maybe if we do episodes, they might be shorter, or there'll be a big lull, because eventually these things do settle themselves out. But I think the first, like, 3 months are kind of like the trenches, and you're figuring out what the fuck's going on. And I will tell you this much: I will not have many games to talk about in those 3 months, if any. So maybe we move to a thing where we have someone else take over with Matty in my stead for the time being, and maybe they become the third chair. Who knows? As you can most likely tell, we have not actually thought about or discussed this properly. So we'll leave that till January, and we'll approach that then, but we'll keep you updated on that. But would love to hear what everyone else's games of the year are. You can throw us a comment on Spotify or on YouTube or wherever you listen. What is the game that really stuck with you this year? Is it a game from last year? Is it a game from 10 years ago? Who knows?
Who knows?
Let us know. I'm very curious to see what everyone else's thoughts are.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's been a really cool year. I want to thank you, Matty, for being the coolest co-host on this show and playing so many more games to talk about than I could ever play. So
no, whatever.
Thank God for you. We have
both
content.
we both played a fair amount. I played more, yes, but you also played a fair amount of games this year. You played all the good games, and that's all that matters. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day when we started, before we actually had relationships really with like Sony and the people who very kindly give us review codes. I think you were still reviewing for Critical Hit, so you had all like the cream of the crop latest games. I was playing like, hey guys, today I'm talking about The Witcher 3, which came out like 3 years ago. I'm finally playing it now. So whatever, we talk about what we're playing at the time, and that's fine. You don't have to always have the latest, greatest. So thank you for the good year, and it's always fun to chat, talk just bullshit about this really great hobby, which I will always scream about. It's just the best thing ever.
100%. It's the thing that keeps us happy and sane at the same time.
Yeah.
And I guess a big thank you to anyone who listens. It is very hard getting a gauge of who listens, where they listen from, and how they listen, aside from just like raw numbers. But just know that if you do listen, we completely appreciate it. We would love to hear from you, whether it's you listening in the background, whether you're listening on your commute to work, whether it's on a treadmill, wherever. These are all places I listen to podcasts. These are the only frames of reference I have. But we just want to thank you, because we love doing this for ourselves, but it wouldn't really make sense if no one else was out there to enjoy it too. So we hope you have a great Christmas, a great festive season if you don't celebrate Christmas, and just some well-deserved time off.
Yeah.
Take a break, play your favorite game, spend time with family, and do whatever you need to recharge for the year ahead. And we'll see you then.
Cool.
Until then, stay safe.
Goodbye.
See you next time. Goodbye, Matty.
Goodbye.